What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the stream. We have an excellent one for you today. I want to thank everybody for being here. Match will be starting in about 14 minutes now. So we will get into the team sheet to start things off. I think that when you start to look at where Chelsea is looking at, right, where there are going to be one match before the season starts, you see some players that'll probably be starting against Manchester City that are on the bench. So how does Chelsea kind of fit that in, right? You have a guy like Marco Correa coming back. You have a Cole Palmer coming back. Nicholas Jackson is finally fit enough for the bench, so he's on there as well. So then you have Moises Caicedo. So I think the second half is where you're really going to see that lineup. And you're going to see who is going to play against Manchester City in a week from today. So let's get into the lineup. Let me shut my window so my neighbors don't hear me yelling. So sorry. All right, so Robert Sanchez in goal, Malo Gusto, Wesley Fofana, Levi Colwell, Marc Cucurella, Romeo Lavia, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Enzo Fernandez, Noni Madueke, Mikhailo Mudryk, and Mark Guiu. So the biggest question from this starting lineup, especially in the beginning, is who inverts? Is it Gusto? Is it Cucurella? And I think it'll be a little fluid, right? When we start to talk about the inverting of Enzo Maresca, we start to see it change a little bit. Now at Leicester City, he really trusted Ricardo Pereira to do that. So it's not necessarily the same thing here. Obviously, he trusts, Gusto and Cucurella and Reece James and whoever to invert. But, who does he trust? Is it a whole game thing, or is it just like we'll see how it goes and we'll see what side is more able, so to speak, to invert. So this is how I see Chelsea lining up today. Now, obviously, you could say it's like a 4-3-2-1 or whatever, but in possession and most of the time it's a 3-2-4-1. I would expect Cucurella to invert at least to start. I think everybody has kind of earmarked him as the one to invert. So we'll have him move into the midfield with Lavia, which is a little concerning, so to speak, because you're playing against a good Inter Milan team, and he hasn't played, next to Lavia this preseason. So I personally think it might be Cucurella. But if it's Malo Gusto, I wouldn't be surprised. And then if it's Malo Gusto, it would be pretty simple. We'd probably see Lavia move over, and we would just see a rotation. So this is how easy it could be in-game to switch who's inverting as well, right? You can move a Malo Gusto into the midfield. You can move Romeo Lavia to the other side and move Cucurella back. No problems there. So we'll see. But nevertheless, I do think Cucurella will get the nod to invert at first. And then we'll have Malo Gusto play right here. Because if you play Cucurella and you have him as the left center back here, he doesn't really offer you anything sensational there. Like, yes, very good defender, very agile and whatnot. But I think you want to get him a little bit higher up the pitch. And while we've seen it from Reece James, Malo Gusto from back further, he can also, affect the game from that right center back area, right? So that's what we'll see from that. Going back to the lineup now, I would expect that we do end up seeing, Caicedo, Nkunku, Palmer, Sterling, Jackson in this match, perhaps Jorgensen in the second half as well. I just don't think that they need a full 90 this before the match. I think if you give them the last, 45 minutes, half hour or so as a group, it'll be interesting. Very, very interesting to see where Cole Palmer plays. But as always, guys, any likes to the stream is a huge help. If you just go ahead, click that like button. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed, please go ahead, hit that subscription button. That is all fantastic. And please, I love to read off the chats, love to interact with the chat. So if you guys want to let me know where you're watching from, what you guys think about the game, anything that you're seeing out there, please feel free, because I love to interact with everybody during the chat, and then with the game. So we have about, 9 minutes or so. I got to watch it on the Chelsea app, though, so I'm trying to get... Okay, it's going, actually. So, a very formidable opponent today in Inter Milan. This is Chelsea's big run of stretch of games against domestic and European champions before they go ahead and play against Manchester City next week. Man City lost, Real Madrid lost, but there were some things to like in Real Madrid, and then you move on into the match against Inter Milan. Didn't have Inter Milan subs. They did not post them on their platform, so I did not find them. Romeo Lavia does get the start today. I would imagine that he would start against Manchester City as well. I think he has been amazing, really, really good this preseason. No Reece James. As the report came out yesterday, Reece James has suffered a hamstring injury, and Reece James will be out regardless the first 3 Premier League matches. He probably could have faced the upcoming opponent, which we don't know yet, for the Conference League playoff qualification. But he will not be available for that one on August 22nd in 11 days' time, it seems. So another injury, another little setback for Reece James, which is not good. But, you're going to probably see a lot of Malo Gusto. If you're inverting Cucurella, you don't necessarily need like a prototypical right back, so you could throw Tosin there and you'd be fine. It's one of the benefits. I think this system also protects Chelsea a little bit because of that Reece James aspect. If he does get hurt, you can just put a right center back in there and you won't have any issues. Looks like John Terry is there waving the fans. Chelsea will also be unveiling Pedro Netto today. All reports have come out that he has signed his deal. Medical was done last night, so Pedro Netto will be announced to the fans. Would expect him to, slowly integrate his way into the team. Obviously, injuries are just critical with him. Need him to stay fit. Obrice, big up, man. Thank you for the kind words. Excited to watch this game with you all today. Excited to get in and talk about the details. So if you guys are new to the stream, couple of things of how we do it around here. It's not just your general watch along where I'm just sitting here kind of reacting to things. We're looking at it from a tactical perspective. So I'll have this tactics board up here during the stream, and I'll be able to show you some of the things that we are seeing. Now, we've seen quite a few things from a staple-wise of Enzo Maresca, some of the tactics that he likes to implement thus far. As we have all seen, if you've watched preseason to this point, inverting the midfield is critical, right? So moving Marc Cucurella into the midfield creates this box midfield. So that box midfield right here does a couple of things, right? It gives these two attacking midfielders the freedom to kind of move around. So you will see Dewsbury Hall and Enzo switch sides. You'll see specifically, you'll see when the ball is in build-up process, right? This left center back gets wide, and what Kieran Dewsbury Hall or whoever that left-sided player does, he will create a connection point right here. So then you can also see runners coming up the field to start a break. You can also see Guiu trying to get in behind, and you can watch, a Nicholas Jackson would be very good at that. So it'll be interesting to see what Nico does. Another tactic that we've seen thus far is Chelsea really counter-pressing. When they lose the ball and they're attacking third, they go ahead and try and win it back as soon as possible. Leicester City was amazing last year at creating chances simply based off of work rate in the final third. So if you're not working on, retrieving the ball after losing it, you're going to have a hard time getting into the squad. So we'll see that. We'll also notice in the build-up process that these guys will get very, very wide, and they'll utilize these the base of this box midfield to come in, and they'll utilize them in the build-up process. So we've seen a couple of errors so far at this point. A lot of the goals that we've given up specifically have been in this little build-up process where the pass maybe isn't great, or there's some other issues. So that's one thing that I would focus on today, is watching the counter-pressing, watching the freedom of these attacking 8 midfielders, and then furthermore, that build-up process and making sure that that is as clean as can be. So we're 3 minutes away. It's amazing to see the boys back in London. I think they were all pretty tired after that U.S. tour. So seeing them out here is fantastic. We'll probably see more of the lineup that we're going to see against Man City when we see the second half come on, when a Jackson, a Palmer, and then Nkunku comes on. But it'll be good in the beginning to kind of see how this looks. Wesley Fofana is, probably going to be that guy that steps in for Reece James in the meantime. And we'll look to see who is inverting. I'm just going to send out a tweet now letting everybody know that we are live. I want to thank you all for being here. If you can, go ahead and hit that like button. That is crucial to that. Gives the algorithm a lot of good stuff. Saludin, yeah, I'll show you when he gets introduced to the fans. I'll screen share and find the tweet. I don't think he has been at this point. I think when they did Mudrik's announcement, they put him, I think it was at halftime. So I'll keep an eye out on that at halftime. And then we will show you guys that. Also, guys, before we get started, the match is going to get started in a couple of minutes here. I just want to give a huge shout out to our match sponsor, a platform that I've been working with now for a few months and really been enjoying that. Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea. Simon Phillips has built an amazing community where you can go ahead and go to this page, and there's just a wealth of information, transfer source articles, breaking news, match reviews, these watch-alongs, podcasts. It is truly an amazing platform. So if you want to go ahead to that link in the description and subscribe today, that would be awesome. And it's, like I said, it's really a one-stop shop for all things Chelsea. So you guys can go ahead in there, get subscribed, and get all of the content. I put out a scouting report, a very detailed scouting report on Pedro Netto. We'll have another one on Samu coming up, and then hopefully, cross our fingers, we'll have one on Victor Osimhen in the future. Yeah, so we're going to get started here in a few moments. Maximilian Bayer to Bayern or Borussia Dortmund. That was a guy that Chelsea was interested in. All right, so who are you guys most excited to see here? I'm excited to see Kieran Dewsbury-Hall in the first half. Lavia, see how Cucurella gets implemented in. So we'll get into it. For those asking if we're going to be showing the match, due to streaming rights and whatnot, nobody really that does these watch-alongs that can stream the match. That's, copyright infringement, and you will get your YouTube channel taken down. So we'll not be showing the match here, but we'll be doing a live tactical overview showing all of what's going on the pitch. showing you some of the trends and just kind of walking you through the match. So I want to thank you all for being here for that. It's greatly appreciated, and the team is starting to take the field now. So we will get started here in a moment. Who are you guys most excited to watch today? I think Mudryk needs to have a good game. I think Madueke, if he can continue to hit his run of form, that would be fantastic as well. Real Lacan, watching from South Africa, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. All right, the guys are going to get started. Chelsea will start with the ball first, and we will get started. Last preseason match before the real thing, guys. So let's get excited. Let's get into it. And Chelsea are underway at this point. So immediately, I'm kind of seeing. I saw Cucurella, move to that midfield right away, and Malo Gusto is playing out on that side. Anita, where is Cole Palmer? Cole Palmer's on the bench today. Cole Palmer is actually on the bench as well as Nico Jackson. So there will be definitely some Cole Palmer. Need him to get fit before the Manchester City match. You know what? Actually, what I'm seeing, frankly, is I'm seeing Malo Gusto maybe invert a little bit to the midfield. So this isn't a surprise. We've sort of seen this there a little bit earlier. We've seen Malo Gusto be more comfortable, really comfortable playing alongside Romeo Lavia. We've seen a lot of great things from Malo Gusto to this point. So he seems to be inverting. He is playing a little bit wider, but we're seeing Malo Gusto kind of invert into the midfield a little bit. Not a surprise. I think Cucurella will get an opportunity to do so, but probably just a little bit because of form and comfortability in the system. Gusto is inverting at this point. And you can already start to see, guys, that Dewsbury Hall and Enzo are flipping and changing sides. Enzo likes to operate in this side mostly because he can get his right foot in and put a cross into the box. But you're seeing Dewsbury Hall and Enzo sort of flip-flop a little bit, and that just speaks to that positional versatility of those attacking midfielders. And I personally think that's where you'll see a Cole Palmer play because of that, because Cole doesn't really like to be a touchline winger like Enzo likes his wingers to be. He wants to be cutting inside. He wants to be creating from the middle. So when Cole comes on, it'll be interesting to see what it looks like. Inter Milan are playing their typical 3-5-2 formation, trying to win those midfield battles. Chelsea immediately also just win a counter-pressing point. So, winning those counter-pressing opportunities is a great opportunity for Chelsea to win the ball back quick, create some quick offense. But we're going to look for today is we're going to try and see if Chelsea really win that possession battle and Chelsea win, get some good opportunities simply by possession, right? A lot of these chances this preseason haven't been from that, which is what you typically would see from an Enzo Maresca style system. But we'll see. Yeah, so Malo really isn't inverting, which is interesting. I like Levi more at center back. So I don't know if you guys remember when we saw I think it was against Manchester City, and Malo was playing like a left back position. Malo was sort of running in those channels almost as like a left wing back. He's sort of doing that here. He's much wider and Lavia is more central. So it's really just kind of like a one-man base midfield, and Malo is kind of playing that free roaming role on this right-hand side. Kayla, yeah, buzzing for this last game. Hopefully they get a good start, get going, because they have not, result-wise, done probably what we're looking for so far in the preseason. Ola, the link, I would assume you're talking for the match. To my knowledge, the only place you can watch it is on the Chelsea app. I think you have to pay for it. I did. So you might have to get into it that way. If you're watching the match, you did see Enzo Fernandez on this left-hand side come in wide to get that build-up play from Cucurella. They're going to provide that as an outlet because the hope is that as people are pressing, as they're marking their guys, it's going to create a couple of different opportunities. Let me switch this so that's correct, actually. So you're going to see more times than not, you're going to see Enzo come out wide to do a couple of things. Enzo's going to come out wide, and the reason that he's going to come out wide is it's going to create just a bunch of space here. And what we saw is that Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, and this speaks to the flexibility of the runners, was able to make a diving run in here, and Enzo was able to put a ball in, and it led to not an opportunity, but to get the ball into the attacking third. But yeah, Malo's playing much wider than that you would typically see a Maresca inverted winger play. If you guys are here and you guys haven't liked the video at this point, please go ahead and hit like. That helps the algorithm, gets more people in here, gets the chat bumping. So just a quick little click of the button helps out tremendously. Thank you. So a couple of reports have come out recently about Chelsea's striker position. Matt Law came out with an article, I don't know if it was yesterday or this morning, saying that, both Samu and Mark Guiu could go out on loan if Chelsea bring in Victor Osimhen. Chelsea would have to be pretty certain that a domestic loan is available because they do only have one more international loan spot. So, you start to talk about what you're doing with those international loan spots. You have used several of them to this point. You've used Caleb Wiley to Strasbourg. You used Andre Santos to Strasbourg. Mike Penders to Genk. Once that gets confirmed, Aaron Anselmino to Boca Juniors is an international loan spot as well. And I don't know if I'm missing anybody else. But, you would potentially talk about Jorge Petrovic, who doesn't make the bench today, being moved on a loan or a permanent perhaps. Seems to be that he is confused about his role. So now you're talking about two international loan spots. You have a Samu and a Mark Guiu, which I think you'd want to keep in English football to hopefully get them a little bit more comfortable. Nice. Mudryk with a couple errant touches. He has not had the best preseason to this point. I think you're starting to see, when he has those inconsistent moments, what does that have to do with that Netto signing coming in? You need somebody that's going to produce G&A from each winger position and that attacking eight. Balabi, you can find it on the Chelsea app, my friend. Nice pass. Oh, Guiu. Wow. Enzo Fernandez is really putting his imprint on the game thus far. Showing up in different passing angles, right? So when Chelsea are in the attack, you're starting to see a couple of different things. You're seeing, first of all, in the build-up process, you're seeing Enzo Fernandez really, really do a great job of, sorry, I just got to get it shaped up here to show you guys. You see a good job of Enzo Fernandez dropping deep multiple times. So, like, because Gusto is so wide, right, which is something that we have seen a little bit, but not, like, immensely at this point, you're seeing Lavia kind of be on an island in this midfield, and Enzo then drops in, right, to collect the ball. And then Enzo just came up, right, gets the ball in this area and puts a nice ball in. So you see Enzo really focusing on popping up in different aspects and different, sides of the field. Khan, who's dominating the midfield. Enzo is doing a very good job, and I think he has some positional versatility. Obviously, positional versatility, but he has that positional freedom that Enzo Maresca is allowing him in order to, basically. Oh no! Okay, good foul. But you're seeing that positional versatility allow him to pop up in different areas, right? He is truly in a box-to-box role in the attacking midfield sense, right? So you're not going to see Dewsbury Hall, or if that's in Kunku, you're not going to see him dropping all the way here to receive the ball. You're going to see him up here. But, when Enzo's in the game, one of his greatest strengths is moving from, side to side, from attacking to defensive sides of the field. Trying to get the ball, trying to create, keeping his head up. I think people, when we saw Maresca's system in, really envisioned him as a deep-lying playmaker, but I think utilizing him as a box-to-box midfielder truly allows him to utilize all parts of his game. Yep, and you saw him again drop into this channel with a ball from Cucurella, and he did a really nice job of switching the play over here. Enzo has been very impressive in these first couple of matches. Really has given him the license to kind of do what he needs to do in order to affect the game positively. Yet again, you see Chelsea win the ball, are trying really hard. You're seeing Enzo, you're seeing KDH, you're seeing Guiu really focus on winning the ball in the attacking third of the field, right? Not giving them a second to think about where they want to pass it. And I think you're going to see quite a few teams make mistakes against Chelsea with those pressing, tactics and pressing triggers that you're going to see out on the field. But, it's important to note that when you're watching these games is that's a staple of Enzo Maresca, is that pressing. So when you talk about a Mark Guiu and why he's picked, a couple of times, and why he's, and why he is, why he's selected, is because he is a very, very dynamic, very physical, and strong presser of the ball. And you'd hope to see that from Nicholas Jackson. Victor Osimhen is a guy that presses quite a bit as well. So, having him in those areas as well is very critical. Noni out on the wing. We definitely want to see a lot from him. Yeah, so KDH is, in the attacking process, he is really given the opportunity to move into these channels, and you're going to see Enzo hover around here and kind of go where the ball goes and looking to make a pass, right? Another key tactic that you're going to see is these wingers, right? Chelsea like to get the defense in situations where it's going to kind of have them make a decision, right? And this is all about football intelligence and understanding where players are going to be, right? You're going to see quite a bit this season, Medweke or whoever the winger is, try to make these darting runs and receive the ball over here on these little slide through passes. You look at Chelsea's attacking midfielders, and all of them have a pass on them. All of them have the ability to affect the game with their distribution in the final third. And you're going to see, strikers, you're going to see wingers, and the other attacking midfielders try and get in behind, and especially over on these wide channels, right? Because, Leicester City last year had, I think, not the majority of their goals, but a strong amount of goals come in on these little dives into the box after that pass gets played through. Nice ball from Ugochukwu. Chelsea are really dominating possession at this point, which is something that you love to see early on. Yeah, I mean, Malo is not playing. He's not playing really an inverted role. He is trying to overlap at certain points too, right? So you're really leaving, the two back here. Marc Cucurella is going to try and get forward a little bit, but he does have the defensive responsibilities where he has to drop back and has to be that. So you're going to see, a couple of times maybe some transition attacks against Chelsea in that sense as well. I'm wondering particularly about, Enzo Maresca and what he's sort of changed from day one of preseason to now. And I think when you start to talk about Malo Gusto getting out wide, Chelsea frequently got beat on these long diagonal passes to a winger that's coming up here. So if you have Malo here a little bit wider, but he has that defender in front of him, he'll be able to know and adjust when that runner is making that run in from behind. Because frequently in the first few preseason matches, we would see that right-sided non-inverted, or we would see that right-sided center back get caught out quite a bit on a diagonal ball over here, and it created a lot of chances. But we're not seeing that because of Malo's ability to kind of see what's going on in front of him. And hustle back and kind of man mark that winger. Oh, that's not a foul. That's tough. Guy working hard. Maybe he elbowed him in the head a little bit. Who's to say, though? I'm excited to see Palmer come on, guys. I'm interested to see where he ends up playing. I think he is going to be playing one of those attacking 8 positions. I think it's going to be a free-flowing role for him. As well as when Pedro Netto gets introduced to the crowd. I think that's going to be a cool moment as well. What do you all think of the... Sorry, it's 9 a.m. here, so I'm still waking up just a little bit. Getting ready. We'll ease into it because I think we have a 6:30 a.m. match in the U.S. time for me coming up. So we'll have to make sure we're quite energized for that one. A lot of coffee, a lot of caffeine. What do you all think of the Pedro Netto signing? If you read my scouting report on Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea, you think that I think he's a good signing. I think he has a lot of characteristics and capabilities that Chelsea are looking for. His dribbling is sensational. Chance creation is very, very good, and he creates these chances from all over the field. He plays that. He could play that right wing. He could play that left wing. He can play an attacking midfield position as well. So I think Neto is a guy that can really help. Injuries are clearly going to be the biggest issue. Chelsea themselves have not had such a outstanding injury history in the last few seasons. However, Chelsea do have a lot of players, so he's not necessarily going to be forced to play all that much. In the beginning, hopefully they can ease him into it, make sure he's super fit, and make sure he's ready to impact when he does come on. But I think he is going to be a very, very, very good signing for Chelsea. Interesting that Robert Sanchez has started today. I think that's a telltale sign that he will be starting that Manchester City match. I think once you move past those first couple of preseason games, like the Wrexham and the Celtic, and he didn't really, I don't think he personally made any mistakes against Manchester City. But you're seeing him be a little more careful, a little bit more, a little bit more focused on those passing. He's very prone to a mistake. So, yeah, you're seeing Malo get super wide and playing like a little bit of an attacking role. So like Chelsea were just in the build-up process over here. These center backs were extremely wide. So when they're pressing down on them, they're trying to cut off these passing lanes. You're going to see a Lavia, or in this case, you saw an Enzo dive in deep to get the ball. And Enzo is so good on that little pass, right? That little cross his body chip shot over to the right-sided center back, and that starts the break. So those center backs are going to be really wide. You're going to see a midfielder come in to catch the ball and then create. Noni, nice run. All right, got a corner kick. Noni potentially being moved on as well. Reports have come out in the last 24 hours that Chelsea will be listening. Newcastle is a potential option. I think Netto coming in causes, maybe a surprise outgoing. We saw Sterling as well for Juventus, which I think everybody would be happy to get his wages off the books. However, I thought personally that Sterling could have had a bigger impact, right? I think Sterling could be a guy that could benefit from this Maresca style system. But you're still seeing too many. Oh, Lavia. Oh, shoot it. Oh. Cucurella. It was a errant shot from Lavia after the corner came in. He was there to try to hit it on the one-time volley. Kind of got caught up, and Cucurella, he was kind of being grabbed, but not a penalty for me. He just didn't get his foot on it right. You're definitely seeing Guiu do a very, very good job of working that press and triggering it, really putting a lot of pressure on that goalkeeper to start, getting his feet in, getting in, being kind of a risk taker in that sense. Okay, they're on their first cooling break. Still 0-0. Chelsea have had a good opportunity on goal from Cucurella. Haven't really created any dynamic shooting opportunities at this point. Largely a lineup, I think, that will have, a couple of guys rotated, and there's Pedro Netto sitting next to Paul Winstanley in the crowd. Pedro Netto is there watching in the director's box. It looks like he will be announced at halftime. So very exciting signing. Something that came, way out of left field. But reportedly Chelsea have been looking at him in negotiations for a couple months now. But they finally got it over the line. I like when Chelsea do that business. First of all, it's great for the fans to get that hit of dopamine, from the transfer when they just randomly hear it and then it's done 15 minutes later. Rather these long, drawn-out sagas, right? Like Enzo or a Caicedo that takes the entire transfer window, or what Osimhen could potentially be as well. It was done quickly. Deal was agreed. Obviously, negotiations and whatnot were happening for a while, but to see Neto at the stadium is super exciting, and I would imagine, gets a week of training in, probably gets called for the bench. If, assuming he's fit, conditioned and everything, he was in preseason with Wolves. So he does have kind of a baseline set. But, understanding his role will be an interesting thing that hopefully during this next week we can kind of see how that shakes out. Oh, I want to thank everybody for being here as well. If you haven't, go ahead and hit that like button. That's an amazing, amazing thing. Helps the stream out a bunch. If you haven't subscribed to this point and you like the content, go ahead and subscribe. We do these watch-alongs, put out videos as well, always on my Twitter as well. You can find other content that I do. You can go to Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea as well. And find some content. Oh, Thuram is in, and it's 1-0 Inter Milan. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. 1-0 from Inter Milan. Thuram with a left-footed strike puts it in the top right corner above Sanchez. Chelsea really just ran through in the midfield at this point. A couple of passes. Wesley Fofana is well out of position as well. So let me see. So the 8 here, right? The 8 in this instance beats his first man, gets past Enzo. The 9, Thuram is moving there. The 7, the right side winger is tucked in, gets the pass here. Fofana, for some reason, is way over here and commits. Colwell steps up. That leads this little passing angle, and Thuram puts it in the top right corner. Favor, how's it going, man? Happy to see you here. What did I miss? Inter Milan just went up 1-0 in the 26th minute. Just a very, 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 very good run, to be fair, by the midfielder from Inter Milan. But nobody really stopped the ball, and then Wesley Fofana was way out of position, and it was not good at that point. Malo Gusto is technically your inverting midfielder, although he is very, very wide. It's not a prototypical inversion. He is, way out here, and you're still seeing that back 3. You're seeing Enzo kind of drop in and pair up with Lavia at some points, but Lavia sort of is that, back line player. Enzo is playing a box-to-box role. KDH is playing more of like a 10. And I think part of that structural thing that you're seeing and kind of what led up to that goal is, when you are playing that back 3 and you're inverting, right? Ideally, you have these 2 guys here, and they are sort of covering the top, right? So when a Wesley Fofana kind of goes up like this, you don't really have to do that because you do have 2 guys here covering those back 3, and even in a transition moment when this guy can beat your box-to-box player in Enzo, when he beats him, you still have a Lavia that can come up and step the ball. You have a Colwell that can come over here. You have a Fofana that can come here, and a Gusto that can drop back here. So it's really just understanding, if you're doing that and you're having Gusto play wide, you're going to kind of say, okay, Lavia is kind of that last line of defense in the midfield. Nice pass. Shoot. Oh. Noni with a nice little pass to KDH, and KDH had it blocked, but a really good opportunity. You're seeing KDH kind of play in this sort of area here, looking for pockets of space, and he, eventually found one with this pass from Madueke here. He tried to turn and put it on his left foot, but it was a nice job from the Inter player to recover and block it. Yeah, Favor, they did it just for you, man. Nice job. Really nice from Noni winning that ball. All right, they got a corner out of it, but a very, very good counter-pressing moment for Madueke. His work rate is something that I have been so impressed with, especially since last season when he was kind of out with Poch. You know, when he was on the outs with Poch, Poch kind of said, "Hey man, you're not that offensively gifted where your GA is just incredible, where you can just sort of hang out and be up on top of the field." So his work rate is very good. Enzo Maresca furthered that statement, you know, and say, hey, you got to press as well. Levi Cole getting into it as well. Kind of got tackled in the box by a Serbi. It was sort of after a corner kick was taken. Yellow cards are out. So Levi kind of got pulled down and then tries to get position and then just gets yanked down. I'm not sure exactly what he could be getting a yellow card for, but seems like everything has been figured out. But you know, good to see Levi. Levi, I know in the first minutes again in that Wrexham friendly was kind of getting into a little scrap with one of the Wrexham players, and then a moment here. Levi is definitely pretty feisty. So Chelsea are down. We've seen a couple of good things thus far. We've seen good counter pressing. We've seen good some good build-up moments. We did see sort of a problem with Gusto going a little bit wider, kind of leaving Lavia on kind of a one-man island, and the defensive rotations were not as great for that goal. But if Enzo Maresca is going to make these changes, you know, people need to understand why he's making these changes and understand that your defensive role is going to change a little bit, you know, based on that. Because, you know, you leave Lavia in isolation. If the ball gets beat past Enzo, you know, you're kind of leaving him in a point where Gusto's maybe not recovered. You know, Lavia's got to then step up and try to stop the ball. And if that pass gets laid here, you're seeing sort of a little slip pass being able to happen. And yet again, we've only had, oh, what a nice run. You know, we're starting to see, we haven't really seen a lot of open play, good possession shot opportunities. You know, Dewsbury Hall had one shot on target, or not on target, but that got deflected. That was a good opportunity. Cucurella had one kind of on a post-set piece moment. But nothing that has been super clear cut to this point. Yeah, it's interesting that Malo is playing so wide. And you just, oh, come on, Mudryk, go. Move it. Well, Chelsea's first shot on target is Malo Gusto shot from like here on the ground. Was not a very high percentage chance. Mudryk kind of wiggled his way through a few people. Malo got a shot off, didn't catch it. Very nice, very easy save for Jan Sommer. But hopefully things get kind of resolved and worked out. I think when people start to talk about Chelsea and they talk about what Maresca's system could be and whatnot, it's something that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of repetition. You also have a lot of young players that this is probably, you know, their third system that they've gone through in the matter of 3 years. So having to unteach and reteach habits is something that takes a while. Come on, Enzo. Good pass. How is that not? That was not deflected? Yeah, you know, and guys, we're seeing a lot of Enzo in this area, and I think that's smart because it gives him ability to kind of pop up in those channels. KDH is coming here. He's playing a little bit more free-formed, a little further. That last play there, we saw Noni get the ball here, look for an outlet. A very, very good run from Mudryk. Very smart, right, to come into this area and get that cross. Was a difficult technique, but they eventually got it figured out. He missed it, Mudryk, but a nice idea nevertheless. If you're watching, I'm curious what you guys think about Cucurella and this role is. Is it a little too limiting for him, so to speak? I mean, he did such a nice job in the Euros getting up and down the channels, up and down the side. I would think you would probably prefer Malo Gusto to do that just because I think he is a little bit better on the ball. But I don't know, because people had suggested that Cucurella could be the one to invert because we saw him do it last year. But I think that Maresca is very keen on that right side inverting. Now, we did see Malo Gusto specifically was playing left back when there was no real left back on the squad, doing that inverting. But I'm not sure. Chelsea are really trying to overload that right side of the field at this point, using Noni's creative ability, trying to get KDH in there to pull defenders around. Nice little ball from Gusto, nice little cross. They're having him play... They're having Gusto overlap over Noni's side quite a bit. And I'm curious if that's how Maresca envisions Reece James doing that role as well, even though Reece was much... Come on, KDH. He just couldn't get the shot off. Oh! What a save. Shit. Chelsea win the ball back again after losing it. Great counter pressing. Cucurella put in a shot from this area, and Guiu is very, very active to cut in front of the shot and try and redirect it a little bit. And it kind of went over here. Sommer had a great reaction. Oh, man. Guiu should have quite a few goals thus far. I think he only has that one glancing header against Club America. But his opportunities have been really good thus far. And it's a lot of it's down to his work rate. Chelsea, again, man, really fantastic job with that counter pressing and winning the ball back quickly after losing it. They're smothering those Inter defenders. I think you're going to see quite a few shots from this area for Chelsea this season, because when Enzo is playing here, depending on kind of what side he's on, KDH is playing almost as like a striker, kind of, a little bit with how advanced he is. And KDH is trying to really focus on popping up into these areas and get the pass from Enzo. So when he gets the pass from Enzo, focusing on, it's almost like a little 1-2 touch, trying to move it into this area for Enzo to cut in, trying to pop it up into here so Cucurella can come in. I think there's going to be quite a few shots from just outside the top of the penalty box this season. Chelsea have tried a few corners at this point, a few corner takers, I should say. Um, they had Enzo take one. They've had Mudryk take one. Nasty little header, head-on-head collision with Guiu and Carlos. That just hurts my head just looking at it, frankly. Cole Palmer warming up with the subs with Nkunku, Caicedo, Nicholas Jackson on the side gets a nice little round of applause. His first potential action in preseason today. Gotta love having Cole back, I mean, his quality is just unbelievable. He's had such a great summer, too, with England and really being one of their big X factors so far this season. So watching Cole out there is going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see where he plays, actually. I think that's a question that Chelsea fans have been trying to answer themselves for quite a bit of this summer since Maresca got hired. We've seen reports that he's going to play more centrally. Now, I think he is a more clear-cut replacement to what Dewsbury Hall is doing right now than Enzo, because I think Enzo has a little bit more of a box-to-box responsibility, which I don't think you necessarily need from Cole. I think you could probably put him in for KDH and you'd be fine. Interesting where Nkunku comes in, you're talking Nkunku and Jackson on the field. So where does he go? Does Sterling come in for Mudryk or because what we see in the second half, to my estimation, is probably what we're going to see, to start against Man City. Another great regain from Chelsea, causing a lot of problems to Inter Milan in their build-up process. Inter's doing a very good job, though, of swarming Madueke on that right-hand side, putting a lot of bodies in front of him, at least 2-3 guys, so it's not going to be really an opportunity, so to speak, for him to dribble by. But I think if Chelsea are smart in their understanding how the field is balanced, a quick movement, a quick switch of play, could open it. You're starting to talk about some of those transition moments when Inter is moving side to side. But right now it's just a lot of crosses into the box. And Cucurella is going to get booked for a tackle on Thuram. It looks like it was kind of a 50-50 ball. Thuram got in on him. Cucurella kind of did a pretty sloppy challenge, so to speak. Probably wasn't very necessary. I think his studs were up a little bit. It's 1-0. We're seeing some good things from Chelsea in terms of the regains and the counter pressing. Not so much when they have the ball in that final third. Inter Milan's doing a really good job defensively and structurally. Like I said, when Madueke gets the ball over on this side of the field, they're having one guy here, they're having one guy here, they're having this guy tucked in here. So there's really not too many opportunities for Chelsea to sort of build out. Oh no, Inter Milan's on a counterattack here. Nice job from Wesley Fofana getting in front of Correa there. Wesley Fofana is going to have a very strong start to the season, folks. I think he will be the starting right center back, with Reece James out. Cucurella with a kind of an interesting challenge. No foul. I don't think there's VAR in this today. I don't know why there would be. But, Chelsea get kind of undone in the back. And Levi Cole's kind of fallen asleep sort of in this area. And the run comes in from behind. Cucurella does a nice job of getting his foot in the last second there and stopping it. But Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff on all fronts at this point. All right, we're a minute out from halftime. I can't imagine there's going to be too much extra time, maybe a minute or two with the goal. And then there was that, Levi Colwell scuffle. But in terms of chance creation, it's not necessarily been exactly what I want to see so far. The other stuff has been good. The buildup has been nice. The regains have been nice, but just simply the shot creations have not been necessarily what I'm looking for at this point. I don't think the whole preseason, to be honest, the shot creations haven't been there. They've had gotten shots off and whatnot, but so yeah, a minute of extra time here. Looks like Reece James was in the stands, however, today. His report came out the other day that he had suffered a little setback with his injuries. So we'll see how that ends up shaking out. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It doesn't seem like it's too serious, but I think Chelsea are just trying to be a bit cautious in the sense of, you really would like to have a healthy Reece James, especially for all of these matches. This season that we're going to be having, there's going to be quite a few when you start talking about Conference League and Club World Cup and Cup competitions and obviously Premier League matches. Marquinhos, another fantastic press to just lead to an errant opportunity, an errant pass from Jan Sommer. Don't pass it back. They're going to stop the game. Mudryk, nice cut. Good cross. Nobody's really there. I think he just kind of put it into an area hoping that he was going to be there. All right, folks, we are at half time now. Chelsea are down 1-0 at this point. What have we liked to see so far? There's been quite a few good things. Like I had mentioned a couple minutes ago, the pressing has been very good. The regains have been very good. The build-up has been very good. But, that decisiveness in the final third is something that I think we're still yet to see at this point. Or do we at least have enough shots on target? I think we had one shot on target, if I'm not mistaken, which is not great. When Pedro Netto comes out, guys, I will put on the video that we're seeing thus far. Just looking at some other scores that are going on. It's been fantastic that the season has started at this point, for like the English Championship and some of the other lower leagues. I love putting those games on all the time. So I was watching the Championship yesterday. I was watching the Championship on Friday as well. Arsenal are winning 2-0 against Lyon in the Emirates Cup against Lyon, which they should win that every time. So it's like a guaranteed trophy, and Arsenal fans, they'll add it to their trophy cabinet, right? Just like the community shields and whatnot. They definitely don't have a problem putting in some of these trophies, so to speak, into their trophy total. So wouldn't be surprised if you see a couple of tweets about the Emirates Cup and whatnot. Guys, I want to thank you for being here as well. Amazing support thus far on the video. Very great from the chat as well. Chelsea are down 1-0. I just want to remind you guys, I want to thank the show sponsor of today and throughout this entire season, a group that I've been working with, providing some written content and whatnot. Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea. Simon has done an amazing job building out a platform that really gives Chelsea fans everything, a Chelsea fan who takes their media in different ways and giving you the opportunity to take that content that way. Simon does a lot of great written content, transfer sourced articles. They do a live aggregated blog with all the news, transfer photos, training photos, everything that you might want to see on that blog. So it's another great tool that you can use. Great podcast. We've had a few transfer journalists on as well recently, providing their insight and information. We have, match analysis, player analysis, things like that. So, it's really a one-stop shop for all things Chelsea. And if you're a Chelsea fan, I would highly recommend subscribing, joining the platform as well. For those that are here, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know where you're watching for in the chat as well. It's been an amazing growth from this community. So far, we are almost at 500 subscribers, which is just absolutely amazing. The growth that we've had in the last few months has been great. I love doing these watch-alongs with you, walking through what we're seeing in the matches, and just talking Chelsea and providing some great video content for you guys. So if there's anything you'd like to see, anything that I'm not providing you, please go ahead and let me know. You can go ahead and follow me below at CFCDP1 as well. All right, so let's see what we have. It sounds like, okay, let me pull this up here. Give me 1 second. Let me get this taken care of. Oh, that's not right. All right, so Pedro Netto has been announced as a Chelsea player. Pedro Netto, 24 years old, from Wolves. Very good player. Very excited to see him. It looks like they will be bringing him out to the fans here shortly. They have the camera crew down there. Neto is a guy that has a lot of ability, a lot of great opportunity. Yep, so they just brought him out right now. They're showing it on the stream, waving to the crowds, wearing the new kit. I would imagine they just took this photo before the match and have it ready. So Pedro Neto, some guys, some people, really think that he could be a special player. I am one. I think he just needs to add a few goals to his game, a little bit more consistency in terms of health. But Neto is a guy that I think could make a serious impact on Chelsea this season. And when we get that, we'll get that going for you guys as well. We'll get that video coming out. Sorry, a little on-the-fly editing here with the tactics board, so you'll have to excuse me for a second while I get this all fixed up, looking pretty for you guys. And we'll get started with see what you have in the second half. See some subs coming on, hopefully. There we go. Excellent. Let's look at and see what the chat is saying now. Real kind of my opinion. I don't think it's the right thing for Chelsea, for Enzo Maresca to still be experiencing on his first 11 at this stage. Yeah, so I think Chelsea really just want to make sure that they get 45 minutes with the group that's going to be starting against Inter Milan. Cole has a whole another week of opportunity to get fit and get his conditioning. Clearly, he's been working. We've seen some of the posts and social media stuff from his training staff about him getting, physically conditioned for a full season. So I would expect to see Palmer in the second half. I would imagine we're going to see Nicholas Jackson as well. Oh, excuse me. I thought I saw a sneeze coming. But I imagine we'll see Nicholas Jackson as well. We'll see Christopher Nkunku as well. Moises Caicedo. Who gets subbed on in what places will be interesting as well. We also have a lot of guys on the bench that their futures are not necessarily, figured out at this point. We have a Renato Viega who potentially might go on loan. We have Carney Chukwuemeka who, I hate to say it, but reports are starting to come out about his, him potentially moving on now that Neto is here. Raheem Sterling to Juventus is another guy that we started to see get links as well. Noni Madueke is another guy that we have seen get potential links to move on. So it's not for certain who's all going to be here at this point. There are 20 days yet in the transfer window. So there will be a few things that will have to get shaken out. But I would imagine the second half that you're going to see is going to be largely guys that will be starting against Manchester City on Sunday, a week from this time. So Ernest says Chelsea 3, Inter 1. Well, hopefully some of those subs that I mentioned that can come on can make a serious impact. Favor says if Neto ends up like Mudryk, I will have to get a new club. Boy, I hope so. I don't think you really worry about the how do I want to say this? I don't think you really want to worry about like the mental mistakes that Mudryk faces that Neto I don't think will. Neto really has a good feel for the game. His passing and chance creation is something that's always been very good. From all reports, Neto as well is a guy that has a lot of drive to be really good. He has a lot of drive, like he wants to be great. And that's a very attractive proposition as well. So I don't know. I think it's something that definitely needs to be kind of figured out, right? And something that needs to be talked about, right? Like understanding how he will, it's a different mentality when you talk about Mudryk and Neto. Mudryk has all the ability, but he doesn't have the IQ. Neto has all the IQ and the ability, but he can't stay fit. So if he could stay fit, I think that could be the real X factor, is just staying fit. All right, let's see if we have any idea of who is warming up, who might be coming out. We'll wait for the official Pedro Netto video to show you guys what we're seeing. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So somebody was saying that Victor Osimhen's agent is at Stamford Bridge to watch Chelsea versus Inter. So we're not seeing that. I don't know if that's true or not, so I'm not going to necessarily say that. Graham Bailey also says this morning, Nicholas Jackson remains unsettled at Chelsea and his exit from the club this summer cannot be ruled out. I highly doubt that. I mean, Chelsea, if they were to bring in a Victor Osimhen and if they do move on, if they were, let's just live in this hypothetical, which I don't think is very true. If Nicholas Jackson were to leave this summer, you would have to guarantee you get Osimhen, and it's a guaranteed deal. Now, I personally don't think that moving on from Nicholas Jackson is something that I would want to do regardless. I think that's a very dumb idea because I think he could be an excellent, borderline great striker in the Premier League. We saw him, even with his missed chances, just create a lot of opportunities last season. So it looks like Nkunku, Caicedo, and Cole Palmer are specifically working out. They have their training tops off, so it looks like those three will come on. Nico is on the bench, has not featured this summer, has been in some training, so maybe he does get in, but maybe it's for 25 minutes. But it does look like Ugochukwu, Palmer, and Caicedo will be coming on. Will be fascinating. Will be really fascinating to see who these guys come in for. I think it'll be Renato Viega's out there too without his training top on. I wonder if you do see Vega come out, which would be quite odd. I mean, I don't think he's going to be in your starting 11, but perhaps it's a Cucurella got 45 minutes in. We don't want to really force him and rush him back. We'll put Vega out there, and you know, we won't have too many issues. With that, looks like the refs are coming back onto the field now. Let's see here. Another report, don't know about the source though. Napoli are set to close the deal with 48 hours on Romelu Lukaku. The Italian club plan is to get Belgium on loan with 30 million option to buy. I would not loan him. That's if it's a loan with obligation, then sure, I could say that's fine. Just getting his wages off the books would be great. We do see some guys with the training bibs on that don't look like they'll be coming in right away, but that's like Raheem Sterling, Ugochukwu, Carney, Nicholas Jackson. So potentially in a little bit, those guys will be coming on. Oh, I'm very congested all of a sudden. So we'll see. We'll see who gets out there. We'll see if it looks like Palmer's coming out. It looks like Caicedo's coming on. Looks like Nkunku's coming on, and looks like Renato Vega's coming on. I would assume Vega is going to come on for Cucurella. Play that left-sided center back position. I think that all but cements that Chilwell just does not have a fit for this squad at this point, which, makes sense to me. All right, the team is taking the field here. The Inter players are coming out. I just can't, tell you guys how important it is that Chelsea are playing these difficult fixtures in their preseason, especially this run. And, they ramped up with, a Wrexham, a Club America, Celtic. Celtic obviously kicked the crap out of us, but now we're seeing the transition against some very, very good teams. All right. So I don't see a Cucurella out there, so it looks like Cucurella will be coming off. Let me just adjust the board here. Cucurella is coming off. We're seeing Renato Viega coming at left center back. It looked like Fofana and Colwell were still on. Enzo was coming back on. Mudryk was coming back on. Guiu. So I would suggest that maybe KDH and Madueke are coming off. And Nkunku and Palmer coming on. I don't think I saw Romeo Lavia though. Yeah, so it looks like Lavia is off. Caicedo is going to be on. KDH is off. Nkunku is on. And looks like Madueke is off. And Palmer will be playing that right wing position. All right. Get that set up. Guiu is still on. There's no Nicholas Jackson yet. Second half looks like it's about to get underway momentarily. Waiting for the ref's whistle. All right. All right, guys. First action with Cole Palmer. He is playing that right-sided winger position. A lot of the rhetoric that we saw earlier this summer specifically was, where will Palmer play? Athletic came out with a report saying that he's going to be playing more centrally. I would imagine that it's not necessarily a touchline winger position. I would imagine that he'd have some versatility to get a little bit closer to goal. And then Ugochukwu is a straight swap for KDH. Interesting to see Renato Viega in the match right now. Could have definitely put Tosin in and moved Levi Colwell over to left center back, but not seeing that right now. We saw Viega come in. I think Viega is a guy that we all liked. We haven't seen him so much thus far in preseason. But, definitely bought and definitely has an opportunity to stay if he can play in these positions. And, furthermore, rated high, above Ben Chilwell for his ability to play in multiple positions. So, Caicedo's playing on this. I'm trying to see if it's similar to what we saw earlier. I'm not seeing Gusto, so I don't really know where he's playing right now. Yeah, it looks like he is playing over here. It looks like Caicedo is playing that deep role quite a bit. Come on, Malo. Okay. We're also still seeing some of that man marking, right? That man marking with the center backs that kind of ride their defenders all the way up. And when you pull that defender, it's even more critical for Malo Gusto to come in and replace that role. So, yeah, we're seeing Caicedo play as that DLP kind of back here. Enzo, it's, Gusto's not really inverted. He's kind of playing out wider. Because I think Chelsea are valuing that overlap a little bit more. So it is kind of like a 4-1, kind of. I don't know, guys. If Nicholas Jackson doesn't get into this match, I don't know how you could say that Nico could start against Man City. I think Guiu has all the chance in the world to start against Man City. Because Nico only played he's played none. Samu is not here. Obviously, Victor Osimhen is not even a Chelsea player, if that was what you're thinking. So I would truthfully say that I think Guiu is going to start, although he just got hit in the face. Ooh, really high boot. Caught him in the chin. Acerbi. Serbi's kind of wild. We're seeing Malo Gusto very, very advanced. And we're really seeing to be honest, what we're really seeing is we're seeing Enzo pop out into these sorts of areas. We're seeing Guiu play up here. We're seeing Nkunku almost play like a second striker. Palmer is like kind of over here. Gusto is sort of over here. Oh, man. If he would have just dummied it, Guiu would have had a really good opportunity. Wow, really poor mistake from Wesley Fofana. Man, Thuram is just physically so good. Most players would have lost the ball with that amount of pressure. Caicedo is kind of like a DLP back here, but, he's still, popping up into these areas. So it's, that midfield cover isn't always there, especially where Gusto is. But Gusto, in defense is sort of dropping back and making a 4. Positionally, this has been a very fascinating game because we're seeing a few things that we haven't seen from Enzo Maresca at this point, really leaving, and Enzo does drop back and help in possession, but if Chelsea were to lose possession higher up the field, you're really kind of leaving Caicedo as like that only frontline option to defend against, a break. Wow, nice save from Robert Sanchez. Chelsea get overloaded pretty quickly. Like, they fall into that trap of really pushing a lot of numbers over. Like, pushing, like, if the ball is in this side of the field, I'll just move a couple of players for now. But they really get kind of put into that little trap, right, of the ball is over here, and not only does your center backs kind of go over there, if a team is smart and they can play that pass, right? They can play a little pass and a flick on. I mean, Chelsea leave this. They're basically giving teams this space right here. And that's pretty consistent. Still would like to see a little bit more of chance creation and shot creation. Most of Chelsea's opportunities have come from counter pressing, which is fine, but you do want to have some of your possession based build-ups lead to good moments, right? Another turn. Well, Mudryk got it back, but another kind of sloppy turnover. Personally, Cole is playing like a very, very wide right winger role. And I'm not like necessarily in love with it. I'd love to see him get a little bit closer to goal and turn up in those pockets. But we're seeing him a lot out here. He'll dribble in and whatnot, but when you get to this position and there's two guys kind of guarding you, you're not going to get many shots off. And I think that was somewhat some of the worry with Maresca's. If he is going to play that right wing position, he's not necessarily. Oh, and Nkunku just with a bicycle kick. Oh, it went off the post. Oh. Oh, Summer got a hand on it too, but really nice technique from Nkunku. Leads to a corner. Guiu's down, grabbing. He seems to have a little bit of a cramp. He's up. He's fine. So Chelsea will be a man down for the corner. Okay, Nico Jackson is coming on, folks. Nicholas Jackson is coming on for Mark Guiu. This is the first bit of Nico Jackson that we've seen this summer. Really excited to see what he can do in this system. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities in these build-ups. So he'll get probably around 40 minutes in this match. Another strong performance from Guiu, I think. But guys, I think when you start to look at this formation and you start to look at this lineup, I think that this is exactly probably what you're going to see as the starting 11. You could put Cucurella in for Renato Viega, obviously. Shoot it. Good pass. Off the post. Oh my God. Oh, brother. Mudryk with a very nice pass to Colwell in that, and Colwell is not offside. Oh. Great little cutback, great little pass from Mudryk. Levi tried to tuck it in the near side post on that left-hand side against Sommer, and I think it rattled off the post, to be honest. Hold on one second, guys. I'm very congested. I need a tissue. Oh, so sorry, guys. Got very congested all of a sudden. All right, so we got Nico out there. Interesting to see what kind of impact that he makes. God, I already sound better. Oh, because I was very congested a minute ago. So a couple of things that Nico brings to the table rather than Mark Guiu. Obviously, just, general awareness of, playing first team football, dribbling capabilities. Probably would give Guiu the advantage when it comes to the work rate side of it. I think Jackson does a fine job, but he's not necessarily... Not necessarily, that's Guiu's thing. Guiu works very hard out there. Interesting where we end up seeing Cole, on that right wing. I wonder if it's just a little too wide for him. Little too wide for him at this point. Just does it limit kind of what offensively he brings to the table, some of his dynamism and whatnot. Good to see Disasi back on the bench as well. Disasi is a guy that, hasn't played in preseason as well, has had a little bit of an issue, had some surgery, I think, in the offseason. I don't think he'll play today, but he is on the bench. Inter Milan making some changes. We're in the 60th minute now, guys. 30 minutes. Hopefully Chelsea can get a couple of more clear-cut opportunities. They had a few more in the second half. Probably a little higher quality. That one that Cole had was very good. Mudryk did a very nice job getting him the ball. So a good moment from Mikhailo. You would imagine that Mudryk would probably start, I would think, against Man City. Utilizing some of his pace in the channels, that could be a susceptible thing that you can use against Man City. Try to get wide, right, and try and defend that way. Then, Pedro Netto is a guy that probably, if he does end up, getting fit and conditioned and integrated in the team right away, you'll see him coming on that left wing as well. What does that mean for Raheem Sterling? Interesting that Sterling has not come in yet. I wonder if that's any telltale sign about this. Nice pass from Palmer. So the one thing that Palmer will not get from this area is too many goal-scoring opportunities. But when he catches the ball here, he's very, very good at using his eyes in a cutback to kind of get runners to come in. So Nkunku is popping up in this little area here. Jackson made a run pulling a defender. Nkunku then makes a run, and the right center back pulls in and gets a foul. So Palmer does a nice little draw slide pass there to Nkunku, and it's a good opportunity. So a very, very good opportunity from a set piece situation. It looks like the free kick is right over here where Nkunku's standing, so definitely shooting distance away. They'll set up the wall and whatnot, but it looks like Nkunku is going to be the guy taking it on the right-hand side. Let's see if you can get it up and over the wall. The wall's covering this left-hand side right here. I'm not going to move everybody, but it's covering this left-hand. It's like right here. Summer is playing right here. Let's see what happens. Can he get it up and over? Nope, deflected by the wall. What are you doing, Enzo? Ball got deflected, fell to Enzo. Enzo put it about, 20 yards over the goal. Important to see, I think, with Nkunku and Palmer on is we want to make sure that those counter-pressing opportunities stay high, that they're really in at Jackson. We want to really see that they are continuing to win the ball in those high areas. That's been a great opportunity for Chelsea to create some, simple opportunities and whatnot in aggressive areas. Nice from Nicholas Jackson. Good pass to Mudryk. Come on, do something with it. Nice pass. Oh, Nico dive. Oh, man. So we saw Nico do a very, very, very nice job. The ball was progressing here. Nico nicks it off of this guy right here. It falls to Palmer. Palmer puts in a very, very nice ball over to Mudryk. Mudryk then makes a nice little run in here. Nkunku dives into the box. Nkunku just does a little back heel flick, and all it needed was Nico to just dive in front of the net and, get his foot on it. That is one part of Nico's game that I think needs to evolve. And this is one reason, personally, why I like Victor Osimhen, if you're making those little passes, that's what Osimhen is so instinctual when he gets those balls right in, played right in front of goal to just sprint in and finish. And Nico is caught a little flat-footed there. Nice little play from Renato Vega, kind of taking the ball off of Dumfries there. Been fairly impressed. Go, Nkunku. Go, 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 go. Oh, he got fouled. No. Yeah, I think Vega could be a good guy. I think he could be a good player. Definitely has the size, the pace, the passing range. I think that fits in with what Maresca wants his back line to look like. If you notice his back line, Colwell, Fofana, Tosin, Viega, Badiashile, all tall, very long, but very good at distribution back there. Nice play by Vega, too. Nice deflection. Very good. Renato has looked very, very impressive in his first, 15 minutes or so at Stamford Bridge. Really nice. There's a header. He got physical with the striker, deflected the ball out of the way. It came to the top to Barella, and Vega gets up and, makes a good stop. I think Vega could be a nice little backup option at that left center back position. I think he would be more than able to get some minutes. All right, we're in the 66th minute. We are at another cooling break. I'm not sure what the temperature is there. From the people that I saw, everyone's wearing short sleeves, so it must be nice right now. Some good opportunities so far this half. Mudryk has had two very, very, very nice passes leading to very good chances. One to Colwell that got hit off the post. One to Nkunku that was just played across the net. Okay, it looks like Tosin is coming on. I would assume he probably comes on for Wesley Fofana at this point. Yep, Wesley Fofana is coming out. Tosin will be coming in to play that right center back position. Good little 67 minutes from Wesley Fofana. I think, when Reece James is out with the injury and the suspension, we're going to see a little bit of, kind of filling by committee there. Looks like Badiashile is coming in. I would assume that is going to be for Levi Colwell. Badiashile probably going to play that right-sided center back position, I would presume. Tosin's going to play the right-sided center back, and Badiashile is going to move into that center back role. Thanks to everyone that's joined with us so far. It's been amazing to get all of this support, all of these views and likes and whatnot. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you like the content that I'm providing here, we'll be here pretty much for every match day. There's a couple of them where I will not be able to do it. I know the Wolves game, I think that's the second match week of the season. I'll be traveling to a wedding, so I won't be able to do that one, but you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at CFC. Go Nico. Oh, almost got it. You can follow me at CFCDP1, as you see in the bottom right there. I'll be following the match from a plane, so that'll be fun. Could do a watch along from a plane. People might not like that, but you never know. I think when you start to look at these center backs, you start to look at, Nico Jackson specifically. I think Chelsea will try and do a very nice job of finding him running through the channels. I think his pace and his ability to turn off of defenders is something we saw last season. And I also think that's something that we'll see continued this season as well. Those long passes through the channels. and making those runs in behind as well. Yeah, so you're already starting to see some in-game adjustment from Enzo Maresca in that build-up stage, right? So what you're starting to see now is you're starting to see Caicedo really be left on a little bit of an island over here. And he's conceding that simply for the sense of, sorry, I just want to get everyone in the right position so I can illustrate this better for you. We're really seeing in that build-up process, right? We're seeing now Palmer sort of cut inside and Malo play that overlapping role. Very similar to what we saw last season, right? And what we've seen prototypically from Chelsea with their right backs is getting that overlapping sense in. I think that overlap does a couple of things. It allows Palmer to cut in on the inside, be more of a progressive playmaker centrally. It allows Gusto to get into these areas to potentially get some crosses off. But, you start to talk about what could potentially go wrong. You need Enzo then to be able to come and track back and kind of partner up with Caicedo at certain points. You also really need to focus on that possession because you could be in a troubling position if you leave Caicedo by himself out there. Ronnie, I'm with you, man. I want Chelsea to score. They've had some chances, right? They've had a couple balls hit the post. They've had a couple of opportunities and whatnot. Cole's really trying to put his footprint on the game by cutting inside, right? Good contingent of Inter Milan supporters there as well. I'm sure their fans are happy to get on and travel over to London for a nice little friendly. Been highly competitive so far. Been very highly competitive. I think Chelsea have looked pretty dang good. That one goal was a little bit of a problem. Hasn't necessarily had any clear-cut opportunities so far, but from possession and whatnot. So. It's really important if Cole is in these areas to get some, secondary support from Caicedo coming up because that can switch the play. Caicedo's role is very critical in this team. Obviously defensively, but I do believe that offensively he's going to have a few more opportunities to really put his fingerprints on the game. A lot of crosses, though. A lot of crosses. Not too much intricate build-up in the sense of, passing and kind of creating those overloads. I think that's going to take time. But, Chelsea need to get on the front foot here. Try to get a goal here. Move it, Tosin. Ugh. Pass. Nice, Malo. Good pass. Get it, Cole. Oh. We're still excuse me. We're still seeing a little bit of indecision here, Still seeing a little indecision from Chelsea, but My question is, specifically, here's a couple of things that I'm interested about just based off of these substitutions, right? We're seeing a couple of things. Carney, not playing. If your goal is to put Nkunku on in the second half with Enzo, I would probably have, if Carney's going to stay around, I would put Carney in. Ben Chilwell clearly does not have a role on this team. He will move. I think he understands. I think they're, sort of doing what they're doing with Chalobah with Chilwell. Chilwell's a very, very well, liked guy in the locker room. So having him out here is, important and whatnot. But I think he will, look to play. So I think he will try and find a move before the deadline. Raheem Sterling is now coming into the match for Mykhailo Mudryk, it appears, I would imagine. Not quite yet, but in a moment. They're readying that one. Go. Go, 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 go. Make a pass. Oh. Mudryk had an opportunity to put the ball in, but he kind of just tried to trust his pace and get on the outside, and it didn't lead to much. A nice turnover. Cut back. Good defending by Pavard, really, but, Mudryk couldn't really get onto it. All right, so that will be Mudryk's day today. Some good things. Definitely some good things that you can hang your hat on and be like, yeah, he did well. Had the pass to two of the better opportunities. One for Nkunku that Nkunku led, put across goal and nobody was crashing. A nice little pass to Levi Colwell. So I would say it's definitely been a rather positive experience for Mudryk today. You're still seeing some of that, losing the ball when he doesn't need to. Errant shots, not passing it and whatnot. So some of his decision making, which we all know is still a question. However, it was definitely not a horrible game, not a great game, but it was just okay. Been fairly impressed with what I've seen from Moises Caicedo so far. A couple fouls, but when you're being left on that island back there and you're trying to get Gusto to go forward, that's definitely something to cause concern. Haven't seen much from Nico. Cole has been fairly active, trying to get crosses into the box and whatnot. Definitely not showing up in those pockets of space where I think he could really succeed. I think if you put him and Noni out there, and you still have Gusto pop into those, channels, those overlapping opportunities, that could be a benefit as well. But you're not necessarily seeing that at this point. Cole is playing out wide. Thank you all for the support this morning. It's been absolutely amazing to have, all these viewers in here, all these chats and whatnot. So hope we can continue to grow this, make these watch-alongs more fun. Really nice passing. Good cross from Gusto. Sterling takes it to the touchline. Palmer. He just put it wide. He tried to hit it with his right foot. It was a good cross from Gusto. And Nkunku tried to come in. Not deflected. Yeah, Cole just really tried to open up his foot and put it in. Okay, Looks like Leslie Ugochukwu is coming in for Malo Gusto. Very, very interesting to see Ugochukwu here. A lot of the conversation has been around Leslie going out on loan. But he has featured quite a bit in all these matches. So we'll see where he plays in this. You know, I mean, I think people most prototypically think of him as a defensive midfielder. So maybe we see Caicedo move up a little bit, which I think we are, right? So we're seeing sort of this, right? We're seeing Ugochukwu play a little advanced, and we're seeing Caicedo and Enzo play here. Leslie is sort of that lone guy over there, so maybe we won't see necessarily the overlapping that Gusto had, right? Nice ball from Enzo. A little short. Nice idea. Nice, Leslie. Send him in. Play it back. All right, Chelsea have won a corner. Now, Chelsea have a new set-piece coach. I think that was talked about quite a bit previously. Brought in from Brentford, who've done a nice job on set pieces over the past couple of years. Chelsea haven't scored from one to this point. They do create a shot on goal from Nicholas Jackson there, but it was very, very weak header. You know, overall, guys, when you start to look at what Chelsea have done the last few matches, and you start to talk about, the teams that they've played, they played Man City, they've played Real Madrid, now Inter Milan, all leading up to that Man City first week here at Stamford Bridge. You saw some good things. Chelsea definitely did not look very good against Manchester City. That's for certain. They were probably unlucky against Real Madrid. They looked very good against Real Madrid, I thought. A couple of mistakes and whatnot, but, some definite moments where you saw it. You've seen against Inter Milan here, Chelsea have looked very good, winning the ball back, very good with the counter pressing. Created some nice things in possession, probably not to the frequency that you'd want, but definitely showed a few different things. And hopefully, this can lead to, nice little ball from Leslie there. Just missed Nico Jackson. Renato Viega just tried to make a long shot, got deflected. I think when you watch Ugochukwu, there's quite a few things that you like, right? I think people look at him primarily, as sort of that defensive midfielder, but actually, his ability to go forward is fairly impressive. All right, guys, we're 6 minutes away from the full 90. Hopefully, Chelsea can create a couple of more clear-cut opportunities here in the last couple minutes. Maybe get a draw, get feeling good. Yeah, so Caicedo is playing that Gusto role, trying to get keep the width on that right-hand side. There's nobody helping him really. And I think, as we mentioned before, if you watched any of my videos or any of my written content on Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea, I think this is going to take a little bit of time. I think it's been great tests going against these big champions in the last 3 matches. I think that'll benefit Chelsea. I think once you see them play against, some of the teams that you would expect us to beat, you'll probably see a few more of those clear-cut opportunities and whatnot. But I think they've held their own in at least the last 2 matches, so hopefully they can, hit the ground running because they have some very important fixtures to start. I think it's important that nice pass, go. Christopher. You have Man City. It's very important to win that first game of the year or at least get a result. Going against the champions, obviously it's never going to be easy. Then you have Conference League, playoff match, which is going to be probably more difficult than we first assumed when we saw the potential teams that we could play. It's going to be the winner of Braga versus Servette of, I think they're in Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken, but they're a very good. They're not great, but, a more formidable opponent than we saw when we saw that entire list come out of potential opponents. Favor says the way we are going, Man City will spell our name. Our only win came against Club America, and Club America don't play in the EPL. Certainly, but I think if you look at it in isolation, yes, that makes a lot of sense. But I think if you look at it from a perspective of just the way that we're playing, I think it's been a little bit more, how do I want to say? I think it's been a little bit more attractive and sustainable, right? When we're seeing these guys kind of come back, right? So you see, the game against Real Madrid, you've seen the game against this one today where we have our full collection of players and players that are actually going to be playing for the team this season rather than, some guys that, might not get a chance. You're starting to see some of these ideas and tactics be implemented. For me, it's just about creating more chances, right? They need to create some more chances. There needs to be a little bit more volume in those opportunities. Because we've had a few today. A couple have hit the post, probably unlucky not to score one, but I'm rather optimistic at, what this could look like. Maybe not right away, but hopefully, 2-3 months of playing in this system and understanding the roles and whatnot, you can sort of see some more positive things shake out. Sterling has looked okay at this point. A little more bright. One's a foul right outside of the box. We're probably like a foot outside the box. So we'll see what this set piece situation looks like here. From this close of an angle, you really need to get it up and high, and hopefully somebody can head it on. It looks like Enzo will be taking it. Cole's on the other side, potentially with his left foot, playing an outswinger. I think you want to play an in-swinger, try and get as many bodies to the front. Let's see. Yes. Oh, yes. Leslie Ugochukwu, everybody. So it was Cole who took the in-swinger, got deflected a couple of times, landed at Leslie Ugochukwu's foot, and Chelsea are on the board and pull out a result in the match. Some solid defending from Inter to kind of knock off Nkunku, keep Nicholas Jackson away from it. But they leave Leslie Ugochukwu unmarked, and Leslie knocks one in. I believe this is Leslie's second goal of the preseason. Really happy for him. Definitely is somebody that was said to have thought of maybe going on loan. He does provide some very good cover at all, points of the midfield, attacking, going back, and whatnot. But yeah, Chelsea get the goal. So 1-1, got to feel good about that at the end of the match. Leslie bangs one in. We'll see how much extra time is added on. Probably not too much. There has been a lot of subs, so maybe a couple minutes, see if somebody can get a winner. But yeah, very, very good from Ugochukwu there. We'll see if there is an extra time. Sign going up. I think the ref is not. They have not put anything up at this point. Okay, the match is over. No extra time in the last preseason friendly. This is all that we see in terms of preseason. We'll be doing a full preseason recap on our YouTube channel coming up here in the next, you'll see it probably in the next couple of hours. Chelsea pull out a late result from Leslie Ugochukwu, set piece opportunity, a second play from set piece. So I will have all of my thoughts on the preseason and what I'm looking forward to heading into that first match against Man City, which will be going on right now a week from this time. So I want to thank everybody for joining in. It's been absolutely amazing to interact with you. We've had a lot of great feedback from these watch-alongs. As always, follow me on Twitter at CFCDP1. You can find it in the lower third there. Please go ahead and subscribe to Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea. Amazing platform as always, and they have been an amazing support to this channel, and working as a partner channel with them. The growth has been sensational. So I want to thank everybody. Check out that video coming out soon. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we will talk to you later.